Good morning, friends. Welcome back to Astrology Today and Tarot. My name is Mel Rose. This is the Tarot portion and the second half of my daily astrology vlog, which you can check out on the other channel, Astrology Today with Mel Rose. Over there, you'll find a description of the day's astrology as I have spelled it out here. Here, I want to discuss the tarot card that sits on the side of the page, and then I'll play another card that, in the context of today's astrology, may give us something more to think about. So let's get into it. The card that currently sits on the side of the page is the Five of Cups, and it's here because it correlates in astrology to the first 10 days or the first decan of the sun's transit in the land of Scorpio. Scorpio is a water sign, and cups in tarot are water element symbolism. So water element symbolism is very much about our emotional life, what it feels like on the inside when things happen, you know, as a result of our interactions with the world. How it feels in our body, how it feels in our hearts and our minds, and what kind of questions and information arise from the emotions that we feel. And so we come to the Five of Cups, and we're just 2 days out from switching to the next card, which will be the Six of Cups. So I was looking at this card just before we got started, and the words came to my mind: a sobering realization. Okay, so this is a person, and I see that here. I see this is a person who is coming to terms with a sobering realization, right? The love that they gave to something, the emotional investment, the energy they put into something, probably a connection with a person, place, or thing, has just been spilled on the ground. There's nothing there to share, to give, to take back. Nobody there to help you with the mess. You're just just coming to terms with something that represents a loss, a disappointment, perhaps a feeling of defeatedness. And it's important when you feel that to acknowledge the lost, to appreciate in the form of understanding that loss, like what it is that you gave that you lost, under what circumstances you did it, and really just the internal reflection that normally comes with a loss like that. And then it's appropriate at a certain point to understand that you still have emotional investment to give. There's always more love to give. There's always more joy to be had in the presence of other people, places, and things. Okay, there's always more connection to be had in the world. So yes, we all come to a point at some point in our life of sobering realization that the emotion that we have put into something, is something that didn't represent a good investment, that got lost, and that you'll never be able to retrieve. Okay, although there is some also in this card, I'll say there is a message about there potentially being something salvageable in the situation where you had the loss, right? So perhaps if you have simply had a loss of trust in somebody because they revealed something to you that they had not revealed before, whether they were lying to you on purpose or not, you may be able to put that in a certain container and say, okay, I lost my trust in you for this reason, but I'm going to choose again. I'm going to choose again to give you my trust, or to put faith in myself to be able to trust you again in the future. There's some hope of salvaging the connection if we're able to forgive the loss, right? So, and forgiveness. Let me talk about that for a second. Forgiveness is it's a matter of being able to say that this person, place, thing, situation, circumstance doesn't owe me anything anymore. If it ever did, it doesn't now. And sometimes we just we enter a loss with a sense of grievance that says, well, I didn't get what I thought I was going to get out of this this investment that I made. And so, I do feel that I am owed something. And, the truth is, in the end of it all, often you're not going to get what you think you're owed. And it's possible that you're not entirely owed it. Or if you're owed it, it's something that you have to give to yourself. Okay. Like the forgiveness for making the mistake of making that investment. Okay. Because it's not really a mistake. It's just an opportunity, as my mother would say sometimes, another flipping opportunity for growth. Okay, so with all of that said, I'm going to go ahead and turn this over. we have the King of Wands. Okay, so kings represent mastery of whatever suit that they're in. Okay, so the wands, they're about fire, drive, spark, energy, motivation, activity, forward motion. It's about like seeing the objective, looking ahead, knowing where you're going, and having the drive, having the energy to get there. So the King of Wands is somebody who has gained mastery over those driven emotions. And, by mastery, I'm saying, they know how to use their drive in a positive way. They know how to make forward motion in the right direction. They can be very focused. They can be very sincere. They can be very big picture people. They're looking way ahead because they see not only what the current goal is, but what the goal is going to be after that, right? There's a little foresight when it comes to Wands energy. But also, mastery of fiery impulses such as rage, anger, spite, aggression, the less impatience, restlessness, the more shadowy aspects of being a wand, of being a fiery personality, is that we might have a little more anger. We might be more prone to respond to things with impatience. And, in mastery of those emotions, it's not that we don't ever feel angry or that we don't ever feel restless or impatient or we don't ever desire to be aggressive, but we have learned how to rein in the impulses so that when we are aggressive, it's for the right reason and in the right direction, right? And when we are angry or when we are restless, we know what to do with those. We know what to do with those tendencies. We know what to do with those emotions, those sort of heat ups that we get, in a way that is actually productive and that helps us move forward rather than, holding us up and getting us distracted from, our ultimate goal. So King of Wands, very much in charge of all the fiery impulses, positive and negative. This is a mastery that can take, a lot of self-control, and it takes a lot of, what do I want to say? It takes a lot of work, I guess. I would say like personal work, because an impatient person, and I'm just saying this from the perspective of a fiery, impatient person, an impatient person doesn't really necessarily learn how to be patient. They just learn how to wait. They learn how to feel impatient and to do other things to pass the time, basically. So the King of Wands here, for some reason my eye is drawn to my eye's drawn to the Chiron in Aries right now. Aries, Chiron has been retrograde in Aries for a little bit. And Chiron is about, Chiron is the wounded healer in mythology. Chiron was a trainer of warriors and also a trainer of people in the healing arts. And he trained a warrior who eventually gave him a wound that he couldn't heal. And he was in agony over it until he was gifted immortality by the gods. So this is a healer that doesn't know how to heal themselves. There's that sort of dichotomy of the fiery disposition that says, I don't know how to not be impatient, but I think I can learn how to wait. I don't know if I know how to not be angry. I don't know if I know how to not have spite arise in me, but I'm willing to try at that self-mastery. And especially Chiron in Aries is definitely about self-mastery. It's about, Aries is about the self. It's very much about, it's the first sign we encounter in the zodiac. It's about just learning how to be a person in the world, really, how to be ourselves. And Chiron in Aries, it has to do with self-expression, how our self-expression is received in the world. Are we received as too impulsive, too restless, too impatient, or are we received as perhaps too brash, too angry, too bold, too courageous, too lacking in fear? Those would all be sort of King of Wands, mastery level things. You know, and you know, there's the question, are we perceived that way? And then is that really a negative thing, or is that really a bad thing? Is that something that I need to work on, right? Because we need to heal the wounds that we have from feeling embarrassed or rejected, especially in the social sphere, so that we can, you know, move on with that level of self-mastery that helps us, you know, like if we can't learn to be patient, at least learn how to wait, right? I believe that's what's really coming through for me. Mars did go retrograde a couple days in Gemini. We're going to talk about that. Mars is trine to Saturn at this time, which I just put at the top of the page there. So, you know, Saturn is about, it's really about self-control, especially when it's retrograde, but at all times, you know, it's about doing what's tried and true. It's about not being impulsive. It's really about, you know, having the control of your fiery impulses here with that trine. And it's saying that our efforts to have control of our more fiery, restless, impatient, angry impulses, is blessed at this time. Okay. So if it's something that you're working on, you know, if you're working on your anger, if you're working on your impatience, if you're working on, you know, not coming across as, you know, a jerk because you can, you know, see what's going to happen and nobody else can see it yet, and you're just waiting impatiently for everything to unfold, right? If that's what you're dealing with, please deal with it right now. Please work on it. Please give it some thought. Please give it some journaling time, some meditation time, because it's definitely right now worth the labor of love for yourself to, you know, to look toward the mastery of those impulses, okay? And that can be the work of a lifetime. I'm not saying that I've done all the mastery of my fiery impulses, not at all, friends, okay? But they do take they do take your time, they do take your attention. You have to be conscious about it. This is not something that we do on an unconscious level. Taming our passionate, fiery impulses is really, you know, work that we have to do, you know, in the moment, in the present moment, as we're feeling them. And combined here with the Five of Cups, you know, that Five of Cups really brought me back to the Saturn, what was it? Saturn conjunct the moon today, can bring us to a really sober, somber place, a little kind of a low feeling, a lot kind of, you know, not just being grounded, but kind of like being on the ground, you know, emotionally speaking, having our emotions spilled on the ground and not able to take back anything that we felt or did or said, right? That can be a very disappointing way to feel. And sometimes when we discover we have encountered another such loss, we have to pick ourselves up out of that depression, that depressed mode, sort of by sheer willpower, okay? Sheer mastery of our impulses, okay? So if your impulse is to stagnate in one place and to simply mourn the loss and not think about the other investments you already have out there, investments of the heart and investments of the money, and but especially investments of the heart. You know, you have to think about the other people that are in your life. You have to think about the other investments that are the other connections you're capable of having in the world, and you really have to, you know, kind of use the anger, okay? Sometimes when you have a loss, it's the anger that can come up that can help you get moving again, you know, so that you don't stagnate in that place. You know, it can be very comfortable to sort of wallow in the memories and wallow in the sense of sadness and sorrow and loss, but you know, sometimes we get a little angry or we get a little impatient with ourselves for you know, hanging out in that place. And that is the way that we're able to turn ourselves around and to get going. So even if you have to, and this is mastery of anger, you know, this is like not getting angry and smashing things and causing more chaos, but getting angry in a constructive way at ourselves so that we can get up off of our butts and get going. And I know that that is not a simple answer to depression, okay? I'm saying sometimes when we are in a low state of mind and we find ourselves slipping further into that mode of depression, allowing ourselves to get angry and to feel impatient with ourselves in that situation, in my experience, can be very productive. It can be very helpful in helping me get moving, okay? So not that it's the answer to all depressed states, but that it can be an answer to some depressed states, just to allow yourself, through mastery of your own sense of impatience, to not even allow yourself, sort of put yourself in motion, regardless of whether you feel like you can handle going further in motion. Yeah, I don't know how that's going to come across to y'all, but that is what I have to say about it today. Thank you so much for being here. I truly appreciate your presence. I would love to hear what you have to say about it or what you might see here. My name is Mel Rose, and I'll see you all back here tomorrow for more Astrology Today and Tarot.